Okay, so we're back. We let that thread for color preserver dry. Now we're gonna mix up our epoxy and seal these threads. This is one of the last processes. Then we'll put the decals on. We're gonna put a couple of coats of this epoxy on and finish this project out. So let me move the camera down here so you can see what we're doing. This epoxy, I pull it into syringes so I could measure it accurately. And this stuff really has to be, you have to be right on with it. Let me get a rag. Don't mind the noise. I've got heaters going in the background. I'm sure it's picking it up on the sound, but it is cold out. It's Christmas morning and everybody's still sleeping, so I decided to work on my pole while they're sleeping. I think I better go a little more. That's the resin. Now we'll put in the hardener. And you have to be perfect with this stuff because it'll never set up. And trust me, I learned the hard way. Alright, so that one's on 9 milliliters. I'm gonna hold this in my hand to help heat it up because it is cold in here. And you want to mix this stuff up real good. I'm trying to warm the epoxy up a little bit. You're trying not to make too many bubbles in it. If you do get a lot of bubbles in it, I mean, it's inevitable you're gonna get some bubbles when you're doing your applying it, so we have to take them out after anyways, pop them with the heat, but I just want to try to keep as many out as possible. It just makes it less work for you later on. And you want to mix this up real good. I normally set a timer for 5 minutes and make sure I mix it. So I'll just keep going with this for a minute and I will get right back with you. All right, I think we got that mixed up good here, and we'll continue on. I like to put a paper plate underneath it in case it drips. Let's get this camera set up so you can see what's going on here. Turn on this rod dryer, it spins this thing. And let's start applying our epoxy. I did get a bunch of bubbles in there. You can work this stuff for about a half hour, and then you don't want to work this epoxy any more than that, because after that it starts to get set up, and you try working epoxy that's set up and it's not going to be pretty. You're going to ruin it, and then it'll all have to be redone. You do want to come over the threads onto the blank to seal it. So we got that on there good that way. So we'll come to this side now. Now we'll just spin this around to even it out. And again, you barely want to be touching this. And the more light you have, the better off you are. I'm trying to make sure I got over the blank and got onto the rod blank good. Alright, we'll let that spin on that one, and we'll move on to the next one. You want to do it the best you can the first time, because like I said, by the time we get to the other end of this pole, we're not going to have time to work on this one again. Until it dries. This is just the first coat. A lot of them just do, a lot of rod builders just do one thick coat, but I like to do 2 thin coats. And if you can't take the time to do it twice, then I just don't understand it. You're building a quality product. It's not about mass production. It's about building a quality product for your customer. And I'm just trying to work it over the edge because I like to keep it consistent after it comes over the edge. Good, and we'll work it this way now. And I'll speed this up, stop talking and speed this up in a minute because it's all the same once you get going. And this is just our tape measure one. This one does no structural at all. It is just to hold your fish up to the pole, and it's 12 inches, so you know that a speckled trout in Louisiana, the limit is 12 inches. So when you hold it up to this, you know that it's legal. Okay, so we got that done. We're gonna move everything back this way so we can set up the camera. Slide the light back. Slide the camera back. And we're just gonna start popping these bubbles quick. I'm just gonna leave the camera here and set the light up, and I'm just gonna keep popping these bubbles because I do not want this epoxy to set up. You want to get the flame close to it, not touch it, and you do not want to put too much heat to it. Now, if you got any little things like little thread pieces or something sticking out, I tried to trim them up the best I could. But if you have, let me turn this camera towards me. Let me get this light out of my face. Now, when you're doing this, if you have little pieces of thread sticking up out of the, you try to trim it up the best you can, but you might get fuzzies. I'll go through a video on how to do all that. I didn't video all that. I'm just doing a basic rod building series here. Excuse me. So, if you got a little bit of stuff sticking out of it, this is only our first coat. So we can just shave it off with the razor blade. Lay the razor blade sideways and just shim it off. Clean it up real good. When you put your second coat on, you'll never see none of that. But that's going to wrap this part of the video up. I'm not going to bore you doing a second coat on it. We'll have to let this dry. We'll let it dry for 24 hours minimum. And then we'll check everything and go with the magnifying glass and go over everything and shave off any imperfections, give it a second coat. Last step will be putting decals on, and then we'll hopefully be giving this to its new owner. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment. I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are, what you'd like to see me build, all that good stuff. See you next time. Okay, we've got all the clear coat done. We've put the color preserver on. We've done all the clear coat. And now it's time to put on the decal and wrap this thing up. So I'll show you how I put this decal on now. You do not want fingerprints underneath it because they will stay there. So make sure once you pull that backing up, you do not want to touch it. I just use another piece of tape to grab that backing off. See, it comes right off every time. And I'll just stick that there, hold on to my tape. Now I've got it clean. I do not have to touch this again. Let's turn this camera this way a little bit. Here's the top of my, where the reel's gonna sit. So this is gonna be in your eye. So thinking right here. And I'll get my brandishing tool and go right down it. You just want to make sure you have no bubbles in there. We'll clean it. And that is a wrap. Let's see if we can get a better look at it here. Seven-foot casting rod with a blue blank EVA split grip handle, Fishing Louisiana logo. Probably gonna put this one up for sale. And as always, thanks for watching, everybody.